you know what? If you understand the bigger picture, you're going to pay attention to Stellar. All right, here we go. Let's jump into it. This comes from Danelle Dixon, the one, the only. Okay. And on this one, you're going to see something that maybe you weren't quite aware of. And if anything, I'm going to take off some of the branding before we can emphasize this. All right, so here it is. She says, we are putting utility on the map, literally. Now, I'm telling you flat out, if you're just the guy who you're into Stellar, but you don't know a lot about it, and you don't know about Soroban, I'm telling you flat out, you got to learn more about Soroban. And if anything, on our channel, we're going to help you do that. This is a little bit of a clip. It states, wrapping up first half of 2023 with a bang. This is posted on July 19th, so only about 2 days ago, day before FitNow. Stellar Development Foundation delivered on our roadmap. Utility is the growth exponent from Soroban to our FTI-DA collaboration. We are brimming with pride. Let's explore. But here's the thing. You may be thinking, Max, why are you sharing this, man? These are just devs talking about stuff. More to it than that. You're going to hear him say one specific thing in this minute and a half, and it's very, very bullish, and I'll get into why that's so bullish here in a second. Smash that like, especially for Stellar and Soroban, man. It's going to be huge. It's literally the East killer. Here we go.
One of the most interesting things to me actually about Soroban development thus far is the fact that it's all been done in the open. So 10 preview releases, definitely unheard of. Since we started last year, ecosystem devs, they've been encouraged to tinker and build. They've been invited to join development and design discussions. And all of that has been happening in public on the Stellar Dev Discord. There have been so many ideas, so many contributions, so much feedback coming in from so many different voices. And even though that level of democratic access is kind of inherently messy, it's been a really wonderful thing to watch. And the result is much, much better. And it came way, way faster than it would have if SDF engineers had tried to build something like this in a silo. It takes a village, people. Speaking of a village, because Soroban has been built in the open and because ecosystem devs have been hacking away throughout all 10 preview releases, we've actually seen something pretty remarkable happen. A viable ecosystem of smart contracts projects has been built alongside the platform itself. So at this moment, there are over 70 projects building on Soroban that I personally know about, and there are likely many more that
What? Yeah, okay, right? 70 freaking projects that you weren't even aware about. Why? Because this is the smart contract platform of smart contract platforms, and it's on Stellar. Yeah, this is the key. This is their premier smart contract platform. You know, maybe wondering, well, is there a lot of smart contracts on Stellar? The answer is no, but this is the key premier one. All right, I'm gonna play a little bit more about this. Sorry, I had to just jump into there for a second. Give you a little bit of that. What? Okay. All right. Oh, what happened there? All right, there we go.
I don't, which means that come mainnet launch, we can expect a thriving ecosystem. So if you are a developer, you don't need to wait for building blocks. They're here right now, ready for you. Now, there's still a chance to be a part of that first wave of developers. You'll be in good company and well equipped to succeed if you join. But blink and you're going to miss it. You will be a second waiver, a new waiver if you don't start now. Are you interested? Do you want to know more? Check out soroban.stellar.org.
Boil it, mash it, stick it in the stew. Potatoes, Soroban. I'm telling you flat out, learn more about Soroban. Go to the site if you want, or you know, if you just type guy like, I'll just wait for Max to whatever. Okay, fine, I get that. But I'm telling you flat out, man, if you ever understood even basic concepts of smart contracts and why this is the key to, like, you know, this is a good analogy. Like you picture, what Matrix movie was it? I think it was Matrix, the second Matrix, right? Matrix Reloaded. You had that guy who, the Asian guy, right? He was the key maker or whatever. And then like he had the main key and it opened up another door. So like literally picture that. It's like Soroban's the key to this massive ecosystem that's ready to be onboarded for Stellar. All right, think about that for a second. Like when, and this is not fun for Luna Classic because I hold Luna Classic, and I believe that eventually, if we could get some, just even like a 1 or 2 solid, real good projects to come back, that's going to be key, right? We know about how big that is, especially with Cardano. Like you have Ajax, right? Singularity Net, great project, right? That's a quality project built on an ecosystem. But how would you love to have, like he just said, 70 just ready to like turn that key? We're talking about flipping the switch, turn that key with Soroban, and boom. And like he was talking about, like, you need to get on board with this now, because that is just, oh my God. You know, this is where for me, I get excited about this, because the way I look at it is like this. And I love Sean, right? I can't wait to talk to him about this and share some of this stuff with him, right? Sean Crypto Smith. I think I need to share some of this stuff. I need to say, hey, buddy, you need to look into this, because, you know, for him, you want to see a little bit more with Stellar. Is this not a lot more with Stellar? You know what I mean? And so we're going to get into this next part about Stellar and a follow-up and everything, because, you know, let's face it, I mean, who doesn't like getting some Stellar news? You know, one of the consistent complaints about Stellar is, if you're a content creator, man, you really gotta come up with something to consistently bring Stellar news, like Stellar content creation or influencers or so on. It's just like it's very few and far between. We know that, right? So let's keep up with some of that supply and demand and bring you some more of that news. Smash the like for some Stellar. I'm gonna show you guys a little bit more, because this is cool stuff. So a long time ago, or not that long ago, maybe a month or two ago, we used to always reference Alp. Remember Alp? No, not Alf from the 80s hit show. This is Alp. Okay. Really excellent content creator. Like this guy. And if anything, let me show you what's going on with Alp. And he does reference Soroban once again. So he says Soroban, the Rust-based smart contract platform that boosts Stellar's ecosystem. Think about it. Literally what I was just talking about earlier. All right. Solves ledger bloat. Now, a few, I don't know, maybe over like a week ago or so, I gave you that Stellar bloat update. And some of you guys are like, bloat? Like, we talk about, like, you know, I'm going down to the pub, I'm getting bloated off the ale or whatever. Well, not quite like that, right? But anyway, we gave you that update. So number one, Stellar is working to take advantage of the positive momentum in the crypto industry and secure its place in the future of finance. Well, yeah, we know that. Number two, in regards to Soroban, is a Rust-based smart contract platform designed for scale and sensibility. It seamlessly integrates with and works alongside the existing Stellar blockchain, right? While also addressing the issue of ledger bloat, a significant obstacle to long-term sustainability. So some people, you know, like even you, Cool Cat, right? You were saying, like, if you don't have true scalability, what are you going to do? But, you know, 1500 TPS is not going to get it done, right? This is the key to the upgrade of, we're going to obviously need to be able to solve some of these problems that are going to exist in the future. Okay, let's just throw that out there. All right, number three, Soroban's state expiration system helps ensure valuable ledger space is used wisely and allows for restoration when necessary. The announcement of Soroban v1, now a stable release, marks a critical milestone after 15 months of design iterations and public discussions. Now, I have stated this, and I shared it to a lot of you guys. Some of these ones don't get like necessarily a lot of views. The people that know about Soroban, they understand that's big. But we talked about how it was in a test net. You have to put things in a test net, right? You can't just make a main net without, just like like a proper AAA game. You know, they do this all the time, which is silly, because all they care about is the sales and that's it. But if you have a solid, like, for instance, AAA game project, do you not put your game into at least a beta? Right, you're going to do that. Same goes for like test nets when it comes to blockchain and so on. So the Rust-based smart contract platform that boosts Stellar's ecosystem and solves ledger bloat. Very, very true. This comes from learn.figment.io, how to write and deploy smart contract in Rust. Of course, it's a tutorial. We're not going to get into all this stuff because we're not devs, right? But it says, why Rust? That's the bottom line, right? This is a smart contract. We know that Soroban's built off of this stuff. It says, Rust is the preferred programming language for writing smart contracts on Near. That's another great project, right? Do we not know about, for instance, Near protocol, right? The investor place, so I always reference consistently, right? They're very, very bullish on a few projects, okay? In the portfolio, it lists like what they feel strong on and ones that which they just, think that you should have part of your portfolio? Do you feel strong on Near? Do you feel strong on Atom, right? Cosmos. Do you feel strong on XLM, right? So yes, this is a language for writing smart contracts on Near. So again, Near is also part of my list of other ones I still need to get into. It says Rust offers many features like memory, safety, small runtime, so on. This allows us to write a smart contract, and here's the key part, that doesn't have memory bugs and consumes less storage on the blockchain. Now, I want to throw this example to you guys because I have my own server box, basically. I have a 2U server. It's at an actual, on a co-location at an actual data center in Chicago with a company. They're called basically Crossing, okay? And I'm proud of that machine. Like I referenced it to you guys that know the stuff, right? Dual CPU, quad core Xeons, 144 gigs of memory. It's a beast, right? But my key thing is, we run game servers for various different games. And one of the consistent problems that I don't like about Treyarch, okay? For instance, like we host Call of Duty 5 World at War. It's not called Call of Duty 5, it's just called Call of Duty World at War. But everything that Treyarch develops for Activision, they have really, really bad memory leaks. And so basically what's going to happen is over time, as for instance, a log file is created, right? That log file becomes not just like 1 gigabyte, it goes to like 2, 3, 4. And it's just like, it fills up like not the whole hard drive, but like we have to have a guy that literally has to shut the server off, the game server, and then delete part of that log file, right? Because most of that log file we don't even need anyway. And then on top of that, like he has to do that because on the executable file for Call of Duty World at War, MP game server, it has really, really bad memory bugs and just leaks out. But for instance, anything from Infinity War back in the day, it didn't have that issue, right? So again, I know this is with blockchain, but you got to keep in mind, yeah, you can't have something where you have memory bugs and so on, right? So it says it consumes less storage on the blockchain. Again, perfect example of what I just gave you, right? My server box. I can't have a game server that's consuming all this storage as in big, giant log files, right? So that is a good example for me to share with you guys because I've seen it myself. So if it happens on my own server box that I pay for monthly, or my gaming community and I pay for monthly, you better believe things like this can arise on what? On blockchain. So to be able to have them write a smart contract that doesn't have any memory bugs, you don't think that's big? One of the consistent problems of Solana, right? And I'm trying to flood people's Solana bags, is that, like Larry was even saying, right? I mean, he likes the blockchains that basically like don't go down. We don't want our blockchains to be offline temporarily. No, that sounds ridiculous. This is a key, very, very big stuff. So I just wanted to share you guys that just for a brief bit. The next part I'm going to show you guys real quick is a little bit more of what we have, and we'll kick it over to what Legrand has here in a bit. And basically speaking, let me just see if it's on the screen real quick. Hold on. Let me pull this up. So talk about Soroban, obviously. And basically it's this right here, okay? And this is big, all right? Because I want to keep up my flow. Apologize, Legrand. I just want to keep up with the flow real quick, and I swear we'll get into what you got. So, we talk about, are things scalable, right? Gilbert Verdian also talks about things being permissionless, right? This is stellar, but these are terms that common terms that are brought up. So yes, this is permissionless. Stellar and Soroban are open source, and anyone can write a smart contract and deploy it into the Stellar network as long as they know how to code in a supported smart contract language. How do smart contracts work? Well, you can write them, you can test them, you can deploy them. There's this part about where it states when a contract is deployed, others can interact with it by sending transactions that invoke its functions. These interactions trigger the contract's execution, and the blockchain network validates and records the resulting state changes. It's another part of the utility. Where some of the common applications for smart contracts? voting systems and DAO governance. I mean, some of you guys know about this. With smart contracts, for instance, you can vote and you could do things that would be recorded on the blockchain ledger. Basically, you can have it's unchangeable, it's irreversible. Hence why, who knows, me talking about like I want to create my own video game in the future, 2 of them actually. You never know, maybe at some point I actually go to school and learn blockchain because I want to get a team of guys who will create like the greatest freaking anti-cheat known to man, right? Why would I want to do that? Through a system that's going to allow what, guys? The ability to have this be recorded on blockchain ledger, unchangeable and irreversible. That's basically a great big screw you, hackers. Yeah, I can't stand that stuff. I'm glad that in South Korea it's against the law to do that. Okay. All right. So I want to jump into this next part of what we have. And here it is. This comes straight from Blockchain Oodles. What a name, right? This is all the way back on March 15th of this year. Understanding Soroban's stellar smart contract platform, because I have seen the replies every time I do a Soroban video. Some of you guys think it's a token. It's not a token. It's not a coin, right? This is, the smart contract, like the master key, if you will, to, just like, again, picture the Matrix Reloaded, right? You have that one guy who's the key maker, okay? He puts in that main key and opens up this whole new world, just like you saw earlier. That guy was talking about, 70 to join up in the ecosystem. You don't think that's going to do some big things? All we need is just a few of those out of the 70 to be a key proponent of, like, for instance, using the stellar utility through that ecosystem and having all these different ones using some form of actual utility through their ecosystem. Then it becomes like math, because now you have a perfect case where, this ecosystem project is doing this. This ecosystem project is doing that. This one is a stellar AI focused one. And wow, look at what they're doing on, in the metaverse. I know some of you guys get tired of hearing about the metaverse, but it's coming, whether we believe it or not, it is coming. So all it takes is just not even just a handful of the 70, where we can start multiplying more of this. So, people need to understand that it's not just like when you talk about just being a utility maxi, like, for instance, if you're only buying one utility based crypto and you're only focused on it, for instance, like the payment rails, right? But understand that there's ecosystem for a reason. They help the greater cause, if you will. It's a network. All right. I want to show you this just real quick, right? Because we're talking about Soroban. So it basically states that the blockchain has pre-released, as in Stellar, Soroban to facilitate the building and deployment of Stellar Smart Contract, SSC. And as we get into this, here's the main emphasis. And it's like it says right here, to put it in layman terms: smart contracts define and secure connections via computer networks by integrating user interfaces and protocols. The goals and guiding principles of smart contracts development, come from concepts of secure protocols, economic theory, and legal principles. The Stellar Network expresses smart contracts as Stellar Smart Contracts, SSCs. And SSC has connected transactions that follow different constraints to function. When developing SSCs, the following constraints can be taken into account and implemented. And here's the nice part, because you guys like visuals. Who doesn't? It helps with the learning. The middle part shows where you have, for instance, constraint examples up for SSC development, multi-signature, this part about the batching, time bounds, sequence, right? The area of focus that you need to solve is the multi-signature, right? Again, it's in testnet. It's not to mainnet yet, but it's getting there. That part that they need to work on in regards to multi-signature refers to a concept in which different people must sign transactions from an account. Think about it, guys. We're talking about the banking sectors of the world. Isn't this something that needs to happen? You better believe it. People can also sign thresholds in signature ways. All right, I'm not going to get into all this because, I understand for some people they feel as though, this is the nerded out stuff. This last part, though, is good because we were talking about Rust real quick. So, Rust is the tools to create the Soroban smart contracts built on Stellar and so on. This supports Soroban's Turing complete smart contracts with WASM, which is WebAssembly, when combined with the strength of the Stellar's network, Soroban on Stellar will enable, listen to this, guys, use cases focused on extending access to financial services. So even though I was all gung-ho of like, oh my God, look at all these smart contracts and so on, yeah, you're still not going to dismiss the financial services, but there's so much more to it than just that, right? Like we talk about financial services can be used, for instance, obviously in the metaverse and so on. Founders created this new type of smart contract platform for the built to function. A preview of Soroban is live on FutureNet. You can look that up yourself. Now developers can start creating and deploying smart contracts on a test system with Soroban and can earn rewards for their work. That gives them incentives. You know, why should they join this if there's no incentives? There's your incentives. So again, this was back in March, and that's good stuff. And I'm glad to share that with you guys.